Well guys, start this off with anybody ever taking the time, the guys that watch that also use YouTube for their channel, but anybody else ever take the time to make a video and you think you got it all laid out nice, covered it all, didn't have a screw up or a blooper anywhere in the video, and you're like, man, came out great. Go to upload your progress, only to find out you made the whole video like this because your camera didn't rotate on your phone. Anyways, so where I'm at, my masking paper won't stay up. Pain in the ass. Anyways, so my underbody, hold on a sec. Let's turn this down some so I don't get hit with a copyright too bad, and so y'all can hear me. But so I coated the roof, I coated the rear, like this little back section, coated this deck lid, this side of the wheel wells, and these inner passenger panels, whatever these are, and this sail panel inside. Coated all that with rust encapsulator. Had this old can. It looks a little rough because it had some kind of oil type shit like on my shelf. I don't know what happened. One of my bottles leaked oil, and it got across the floor of the shelf, and it just like soaked up. Like it didn't, like this wasn't submerged or anything. It literally just like absorbed it up from the shelf. It's weird. But anyways, so this is probably a good, if I had to guess, 2-3 years old. Seemed to work all right. It was all liquid inside, looked good as new. It's never been opened, so I think that had a good bit. I mean, my shop stays decently managed on temperature. It doesn't get crazy hot in here. Some summer days it'll get real hot, but not like terrible for like a real long time, I guess. But I guess it wasn't enough to make it go bad because it sprayed on all right. The only thing I don't like about it is, all right, so see, I don't know if you can see that. I'm gonna try on the floor some of this, but seems to be better today. It was pretty bad yesterday, and it was past the cure time. I think the cure time's like 48 hours, it says. But yeah, it was quite chalky like, but it seems like it's cured up the rest of the way now, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, so the rear trunk area I sprayed with epoxy, and it cured lovely. And the funny thing about this, I mean, don't look at my terrible blends. This is where I had to like hammer this down to meet the rear frame, where it I did the mini tub conversion shit, so it didn't quite want to meet up the greatest, but made it work. But anyways, all this is epoxy from like the rear deck. I didn't do epoxy, but the mini tub back, you actually see where it mixed there, or I oversprayed a little bit. Inside of here's all epoxy. Inside of this is all epoxy. Well, if I can camera it. All this, all epoxy. So, and I see now where I didn't spray on green thing. Oh no, it's just the light hitting it. Of course, that, can't tell if that's light or not. Kind of seems like it is. No, maybe not. Can't tell. Anyways, all that's epoxy. And it all cured nice. Now, the funny thing about that epoxy that I sprayed back here was, this is the epoxy that I used when I coated the rockers and stuff the other week. So that's been in my fridge sealed since I sprayed last for probably a good week and a half. Sprayed beautifully. I mean, it was thick. I added a little bit of activator to it to make sure it would cure up. And I mean, it has its imperfections, but granted, it's probably where I just sprayed it on too thick. But where I sprayed decently, I mean, granted, I didn't smooth this all out. You can see it's all kind of wavy and junky looking. But that's mainly because I didn't coat it all that great. And you know, this is probably overspray there where I was just trying to coat all this stuff good and I had some runs, but it's all inside the trunk. I'm not really worried about it having runs. I'm mainly wanting to make sure it's coated, and I wanted it all to be black in here. But yeah, that epoxy, the SPI epoxy, they say you can seal it, put it in the fridge, and it'll make it last a couple of days So if you had leftovers, you can come back and spray the next day. Well, from my testing, I mean, I haven't done any abrasive tests or tried to scrape it off, but as far as curing, seeming to be cured solid, and being able to spray it again, it gets thicker. You can definitely brush it on later, but it seems to be able to work after a week, no problem. So just a tip, maybe if y'all want to test it or something. I don't know about other epoxy brands, but the SPI brand seems to work okay doing that with. But this thing is starting to look quite pretty. I mean, granted, my dirty, messy floor from me crawling in and out of here and shit, but all blacked out looks kind of sexy. Had to go dark car, dark beer. But anyway, so on to this that you probably took a glance of when I walked past. So I made a stand, and this thing seems to be pretty rugged now. I just took a piece of flat plate. I had some leftover steel tubing, thick wall tubing, and it's just cold steel bar inside of there probably. But I had leftover this, and these are, outer diameter of that rod is damn near the exact same as the inner diameter of this. So I had to sand a good bit. I had to, I had to run this on the inside of that tube, and I had to sand and buff with emery cloth on the outside of that rod to get it to where it would actually spin. Now, the way I have this set up is, here's a flat, see? It actually made way too big. All I needed was a little flat. I don't know what I was thinking when I made it, but I didn't have a whole lot of this rod left over to make another one, so anyways, drilled that, tapped that. So now, this will rotate. Granted, it won't all the way because the screw's not loosened all the way. It's got a little burr bind, I guess. But anyways, this will rotate quite nicely and as solid as could be. I haven't lubed the inside of this yet, so I need to oil it all up. I just got done welding it an hour ago maybe. But I've added these braces, probably aren't necessary, just to make it rugged as hell. Just to show y'all. There we go. And this was just, I made this out of leftover scraps. This is pieces from my dog kennel I made that I ended up coming back and cutting off. But I think this thing's gonna work out beautifully for what I need it for, which is assembling this third member. And this will slide, obviously it'll come out, so I'm gonna keep it snug down. Make sure that thing doesn't come out. There we go, nice and solid. So anyways, built that. These things sell for like 40, 50 bucks from Speedway and Summit and so on. Save some money. So anyways, the other thing that I talked about in the video the other day was, which I don't have them out now to compare. I'll pop this one open just to show. But I bought some new epoxy guns. They are these. 61472 item number. It's Harbor Ching Chong Bing Bong, I know. But I don't want to use my good guns for epoxy. So I bought these. Now this is damn near the exact same thing as my DeVilbiss guns, my starting line guns. These I think are cheap knockoff clones of the DeVilbiss starting line. They're built almost identical. The kits are almost identical. The cups are the same threads. I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure the parts will be interchangeable. Just a guess. But it comes with a 1.3 tip, 1.8 needle and valve. I think this is a 1.0 on the touch-up, which is the exact same as the starting lines. Now the only difference that I've seen so far is, one, this valve is not smooth operating. It does not shut quick. When you push it in, the rod slowly comes back out, which means the needle seals the paint flow, but air keeps coming out. Now, for what I'm doing, that's not really a problem. Other people might see that as a huge problem. I don't know necessarily how to fix that. I thought I could maybe buff that rod and it would flow better. It passes through like a brass bushing. However, let's see what devastation these things can do. It's a wire wheel. Just stuck in my quarter panel, or my fender protector. Anyways, I'm afraid to buff it too much because I think it might cause an air leak from it. I think that actually seals that, or that rod makes a seal with that bushing. I don't think it's just meant to keep it straight, but maybe. Anyways, that's what I sprayed everything with. I sprayed the 1.3 tip for the rust and cap. I swapped to the 1.8 and sprayed the epoxy. Sprayed nicely. Seemed like everything was fine. But you can get these on sale. I paid 40 bucks for it. And normally I was buying the little $10 guns and just, when I spray epoxy, throw them away. It cost more in solvent and paper towels and cleanup supplies and time to clean them than it was worth for the gun. But those haven't been on sale for a little while, and I needed to spray, so I went and just bought this to try it. From what I can tell, if that big gun lasts at least 4 to 5 times, it's well worth it because I haven't even touched the touch-up gun. And I can just use that and then throw it away and buy another one, and it'd be the same exact thing as me buying, you know, those other ones and tossing them afterwards. So, so now that that's built, I have to knock these bearing races out. These didn't want to come out. So I might soak this thing. I might try to heat it and get them out. I don't know, but I need to wash it to get the sand grit out before I try to knock them out. I did order a bearing rebuild kit. I think to get this bearing off, you have to actually use a bearing puller and press it out. So I'll have to order a bearing puller. I don't have one. Not the W plate style that bolts together. But anyways, the new rebuild kit comes with all new bearings, so I will be replacing these. I thought about keeping these journal bearings and reusing them. They seem to be okay, sort of. And I wouldn't plan on running this for long. I would like some input on some, if anybody's run some performance or some different cases. I actually build my case that I want to be the final product in this car. I was looking at doing an aluminum through bolt housing carrier. Originally I looked at the Stranges. They're expensive as shit. They're like $600. Now I was looking at Yukons. The Yukons are about $350, maybe $4-ish. And there's some knockoff random brand case that's not that great from what I can tell, called Speedmaster. Those are cheap as can be, and probably for a good reason. From what I've heard, their company is terrible. But if anybody has any experience with them, let me know. I mean, I don't see how you could screw up a case unless they didn't get the journal bearings cut to spec, or like all the bearing journals cut to spec. I mean, maybe those aren't machined right. Other than that, I don't see how you can fuck up, excuse my French, but I don't see how you can screw up on, you know, an aluminum case like that. It's not too much that you can mess up, other than poor casting, I guess, or poor quality metal. Anyways, I'll cut this video off. It's been long enough. Oh, I did get this. I thought about it. This will be for the housing. This is a filler tube. So it's just got a knurled top. I think it's brushed stainless or aluminum. It might be an aluminum lid, and this just weld flange. That'll go on the case, on the housing, I mean. My machinist friend's gotta make me a plate to go on the bottom. That's gonna be drilled and tapped. That'll be a drain, so. I think this is the bottom. Yeah, so the plate will be weld on, and it will be here and kind of curve around, and I'll weld the perimeter all the way around it, and it'll drill and tap through right here, dead center. So That'll add support to this for jacking and also give me a drain. But don't know if I like that. It's kind of shitty looking. Don't know if I trust that weld. I might come back and weld over this shit. Housing wasn't the prettiest. Alright guys. Till next time guys. Thanks for watching.